So Friday night snow and sleet forecast, yeah, it didn't go according to plan. I know. And this is the kind of system that gives meteorologists a bad rap. But this was a super tricky storm. I was saying it for days. And as a scientist, I want to show you what went wrong, why it went wrong, and what we can learn going forward into the future. So let's take a look at the snow forecast. This was from Friday morning that I issued, and then this was reality everywhere in yellow. The highest total in the state, 4.2 inches. And once you got south of about Manahawkin to Seaside Heights at the Jersey Shore, we barely saw a coating of snow and sleet. Now, if you wanted the snow, go out to Long Island, where some places saw over 6 inches of snow. Now, we did focus on the impacts for days. I mean, you look at the storm risk from Friday and then Christmas morning, I was saying that snow and sleet was going to create areas of concern on the roads and then some icing issues as we went into our Saturday night. And that's still going to be true on Saturday night. And then in my weather briefings for our Surely Safe clients, this is in Avalon, I was saying on Christmas that, hey, this really wasn't going to be a big deal for you. Just a few tenths of an inch of sleet, maybe, and then going over to all rain. Now, there were issues on the roads. This was one photo from Neptune OEM. This is in Monmouth County on Route 33. And there were other accidents, unfortunately, up and down the Jersey Shore due to some of this sleet, especially in Northern Ocean and in Monmouth counties. Now, we have to look as to what creates sleet and freezing rain and snow to get an idea of where we went wrong. Now, during the winter, most precipitation that falls from the cloud starts as snow. However, depending on the layer of air that's above 32 degrees depends on what's going to happen when it hits the ground. So, in the case of sleet, freezing rain, and rain, we have at least some layer of air that's above 32 degrees. The exception's snow, where it stays below 32 until maybe just at the absolute surface, but snowflakes really never melt. In a sleet situation, it's a fairly thin layer of temperatures above 32 degrees, but then it gets back down below 32 degrees and turns into sleet. Keep that in mind, because we're going to show you what happened in just a second with that. Freezing rain is a thicker layer of temperatures above 32 degrees. It's essentially rain that freezes on contact with surfaces that are below 32, and then rain is snow that just never refreezes again. So, what did right? Well, the NAM model. King NAM here. For the second storm in a row, it got the forecast right, leaving the Icon, the GFS, the Canadian, and the European models in the dust. So, why was King NAM the king? Well, it had to do with the physics of how it was showing what was going on in the atmosphere. Let's take a look at temperatures about 8,000 feet high. Now, anywhere south of this line here, and that pretty much included everywhere at the Jersey Shore, was above 32 degrees. That meant that snow was melting as it was falling through the atmosphere. And temperatures at the surface were only around 32 degrees also, which was a good signal that there was going to be frozen precipitation. Then as we went later into the evening, well, not much change. In fact, that 32 degree line moved further to the north, and as a result, that was a pretty good indication that, well, that sleet wasn't going back to snow, and it was probably going to change over to rain in some places, especially in the southern part of the shore, sooner rather than later. Now, the NAM had this since Christmas Eve. It had this warmer solution. Let's take a look at this looping one more time for you here. You see a little bit of snow getting into the north, and then that peak area was frozen precipitation in the form of sleet and freezing rain that then switched over to rain overnight before a little bit of snow fell in Monmouth County on our Saturday morning. The NAM had this for a number of runs, and just like it did with our storm system 2 weekends ago, it captured the dynamics and the science of this storm perfectly again. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be right every storm going forward this winter, but it sure gives us a lot of confidence that you want to look at the NAM as we go into any other winter storms in January and February.